Buckle up for this one. The Athletic has chosen the best player ever to wear each number in the National Football League from 00 all the way up to 99. And of note, my man Shannon Sharp at least was given honorable mention on number 84, which obviously was won by Randy Moss. But still, that's pretty great for my man Shannon Sharp. He was honorable mention to Randy Moss. Pretty great. Way to go, Shannon Sharp. But beyond that, the number that caught my eye was number 81, because the player chosen by The Athletic as the best ever to wear number 81 was Terrell Owens, T.O., as I always called him, Team Obliterator. Shannon Sharp, do you agree that Terrell Owens was the best ever to wear 81?
Yeah. T.O., for me, T.O. is the second greatest receiver to ever play in the NFL. Skip, if you look at him through their first 9 years, now remembering Calvin Johnson, Megatron, only played 9 seasons. And through their 9 seasons, Skip, they're very familiar. T.O. went to 5 Pro Bowls, Megatron went to 6. T.O. had 4 first-team All-Pros, 3. And everything is really, really similar. They averaged, T.O. averaged 10 touchdowns, Megatron averaged 9. But then, Skip, guess what? T.O. played another 6 years, over 400 catches, over 6,000 yards, 58 touchdowns, first-team All-Pro. Skip, I mean, when you factor in the longevity and you factor in the productivity, see, Skip, it's just, for me, it's just not good enough that you play a long time. Because, Skip, if I collect cans for a number of years, I will have a bunch of cans. T.O. was productive. T.O. went to Buffalo. He was better than Peerless Price. He went to Cincinnati. Ocho Cinco was still there. He was their best receiver. He went to Dallas. He was their best receiver. He's the only, Ted Hendricks, and Deion Sanders are the only 3 men that have been first-team All-Pro for 3 different teams. I don't really know. Look, and Megatron had an unbelievable career, but T.O. was the best 81, period.
This just makes me sick at my stomach. I'm sorry, and let me say before I unleash on this one, we've had Terrell on the show many times. I've had him on TV with me many, many times. I like him. I honestly, from my heart, from my soul, I like the guy. I enjoy having him on the show. We had him on at the Super Bowl, and he wasn't good. He was great. And I always look forward to having him on the show because we spar a little bit. He doesn't like me, and I get it. But I think he kind of respects me, and I really respect him because he was a great football player, and he played with rage and with high passion. I get that. I also was there in San Francisco when he wrecked that 49ers team, and I'm sorry, he just did. And then I was close to so many players when I was working at ESPN, ex-Eagles, who've just said he wrecked us, teams that should have won 2 or 3 Super Bowls. And then I was very close to several Dallas Cowboys who said he turned us upside down under Bill Parcells in Dallas. I don't know. And even that, I'll just forget about all it's not even off the field. It's in the locker room and in the huddle and on the sidelines. But I'll forget about all that, Shannon. Look, Calvin Johnson was a freak of a beast of a rare player. We'd never seen anything like it. He was 6'5", 240 pounds, and he ran 4.35 at the combine. What? It's unheard of. It's impossible.
Yeah.
He could jump. He could catch. He was a package unlike anything Terrell ever dreamed of. What was Terrell, a 3rd-round pick? Calvin was the 2nd overall pick, and you could have made a case he should have been the 1st overall pick. And he goes to a bad team in Detroit, a team that pretty quickly was going to go 0-16, and he got stuck there. And his spirit died in Detroit, and you're right. He went Barry Sanders, and he quit early. He quit when he was 30 years of age. over contract issues. It was almost like what Jim Brown did with the Cleveland Browns and Barry Sanders.
Art Modell.
There you go. And Barry just got sick of losing in a team that wouldn't do enough to surround him with the kind of players they needed to go places in the playoffs. And it was the same with Megatron. But he had a nickname, Megatron, for a reason, because nobody had ever seen anything like him. We used to have Nate Burleson, now on NFL Network and obviously on CBS. But Nate Burleson used to come to Bristol, Connecticut, where I was with First Take and ESPN. And occasionally we'd go to dinner. I think Shannon's been with me to Cava before. There's like the only place to go in Bristol, Connecticut. And every dinner I had with Nate Burleson, all I heard about were Megatron legendary stories, practice stories, that he was just unguardable. And you look at the numbers of what he did, Shannon, he still holds the single season receiving record for yards, almost 2,000 yards. He still holds the single season record for 100-yard games with 11. And over his 9 seasons, he led the NFL in receiving yards and touchdowns. And Terrell was putting up big numbers too. I get that. But he wasn't doing it the way this guy was doing it. And I'll never forget, October 27th of 2013, you might not remember this game, but I do, because it was against my Cowboys at Detroit. Oh, Lord have mercy. He caught 14 balls for 329 yards. That seems almost like inconceivable that 14 would equal 329. And remember, it should have been the record, but I don't know how Flipper Anderson did this, but back in 1988, 89, I think it was, with the Rams, Flipper caught.
It was 89 on Sunday night.
336 yards. Yeah, 336. So 329 for Calvin against my Cowboys. And then he got to play in 2 playoff games. And do you remember the one where they got blown out in New Orleans? That's when Drew Brees and company were just riding high. And in that game, Calvin caught 12 for 211 in a playoff game. And then against my Cowboys, in the game that my Cowboys, I'll be the first to admit, stole it. It was a robbery. Calvin, they were triple teaming him in that game, and he still caught 5 for 85, which is 17 a catch. I mean, he was something so spectacular that he had a nickname, Megatron. And I'm sorry, when I think of 81, I think of Terrell for right and wrong reasons, but I think of Calvin as the essence of 81, like the beast that we'd never seen before at receiver. I think he was the most gifted receiver ever. You can have Jerry Rice or Michael Irvin or, Terrell, whoever else you want to throw in there. It's just 81 should belong to Calvin Johnson. He was just better than Terrell, but you're right. He didn't go from San Francisco to Philly to Dallas to Buffalo to Cincinnati to Seattle. He didn't keep doing that. He quit when he was 30, and I don't think he should be penalized for that.
That's his nickname. T.O., the most fun, the most entertaining receiver to ever play the game. Skip, look, and I think the thing what hurt T.O. is that because some of the things that you mentioned, look, there's always going to be a segment of a locker room that likes you. There's going to be a segment that don't like you. But around the league, Skip, I think T.O. got punished sometimes because of the way he was, and he didn't get voted to Pro Bowls, and he didn't become an All-Pro because of some of the reasons that you mentioned. But Skip, you can't argue those numbers. Not only did he play an extended period of time, he was productive throughout the entirety of his career, and that's all you can ask for. He was on pace to have another 1,000-yard season, have another double-digit touchdown season before he tore his knee up, I think the last 2 of the last 3 games in Cincinnati, when he was clearly their best receiver, and they had Ocho Cinco still there. So for me, Skip, because of what he was able to do and the length of time in which he's able to do it, there's no, Megatron, Skip, no, we'll probably never see another guy that big, that fast, that strong, with that kind of ability, play that position Normally, guys that play that have that kind of freaky athleticism, Skip, the defensive linemen. Skip, that's what we see. We see defensive linemen, we see tight ends that play that position, not wide receivers. Normally, we see Noah Fant. Skip, Fant, he ran that fast, jumped like that. But he's a tight end. Megatron played outside the numbers. So, yes, it's freaky to see someone with that kind of size, that kind of speed, that kind of ability. But for me, T.O., and he did, think about this, Skip. In his first 3 years, he played second fiddle to Jerry Rice. So got a head start on him. Just imagine. And they got rid of Jerry so T.O. could shine. Let that sink in for just a second. They got rid of T.O., they got rid of Jerry so T.O. could shine because they knew what he was in San Francisco.
Well, let this sink in for a second. I was there the day that Terrell Owens set the NFL record for catches in a single game at Candlestick Park, and it was Jerry Rice Day. That day at Candlestick, and the Chicago Bears were visiting, and I was up in the press box, and the Bears said, we're going to triple cover Jerry Rice and barely cover Terrell Owens, and Jeff Garcia was smart enough to say, I'll keep throwing it over to number 81. But that game alone is not any reason for Terrell Owens to be voted the all-time wearer of number 81. I'm sorry. I'm happy for Terrell that he got in the Hall of Fame on his third try, even though I would not have voted for him. But for him, for his sake, I'm happy. And again, from my heart, I look forward to the next time Terrell visits us on Undisputed.